Indian cities are dying. India's infrastructure is crumbling. Narrow streets like a spider's web, wires hanging dangerously, open ditches, potholes, vehicles parked haphazardly, garbage strewn around, and constant noise to boot. Friends, these are the recent sights of Bangalore city that I did not want to come back with. Unfortunately, the sad reality is that it's not just Bangalore, but any of the comparable major cities in India, such as Delhi, Chennai, Mumbai, Kolkata, or even the smaller cities such as Lucknow and Patna face the same situation. In today's video, we'll talk about why all the major cities in India, with special reference to Bangalore because that's the city I grew up in, are in such a mess, and is there something that we can do about it? In a country as vast as India, with a population of 1.4 billion, it is truly troubling that we can count the number of planned cities on our fingertips. Also, when we talk about truly well-planned cities, we often go back to the example of Chandigarh, and we can't really think about any other city which comes close. How many cities truly exist in India as functional, well-planned cities? Do join the conversation and let us know. Let's consider the EIU 2023 Global Livability Index report, which is a study that ranks cities based on 30 factors from stability and healthcare to infrastructure and education. Out of 173 cities studied across the world, cities from India not only rank in the bottom half, but they are well in the bottom quarter of the 173 cities. Delhi and Mumbai rank 141 out of 173, Chennai ranks 144, Ahmedabad 147, and sadly, Bangalore, my hometown, brings up the tail by being ranked 148 out of 173, making it the least livable major city in India. Now this begs the question, why are India's cities so unplanned? Recent attempts at planning cities in India have also remained largely unsuccessful. Let's dare not talk about Gurugram. Despite all the planning and investments that went in to build a modern city, it still becomes a water park when the rain comes down. If you want to go to the root of what might have caused such unplanned development in cities, let's go back 4,500 years. In 2500 BC, Indus Valley civilization marked the development of urban civilizations in India. Indian cities evolved from villages into major urban centers over centuries, and as they grew, they sprawled horizontally without much thought to planning. Now let me go back to Bangalore growing up in the 1980s and 1990s. So Bangalore was a tree-lined, cool, calm city with a tranquil vibe known as the Garden City of India and also popularly known as the pensioner's paradise. Bangalore truly was a fantastic city to grow up in. But the story of today's Bangalore is drastically different. The evolution of Bangalore from the Garden City of India to the Silicon Valley of India has not only been rapid, but it has been absolutely chaotic. The city's urbanized area has grown by an astounding 1,055% in the last 50 years, which means we had to lose about 88% of our natural greenery and vegetation cover. The green cover of Bangalore now boasts a mere 4% of the area of Bangalore. Just to put it in terms of numbers, there are 1.5 million trees in Bangalore for a population of over 14 million, which means there is one tree for every 10 residents residing in Bangalore. What once used to be a cool, green and pleasant place is now a polluted and congested megacity with rising temperatures due to loss of trees. No discussion will be complete without talking about traffic. Now, growing up, Bangalore was a city where most of the residents could get around easily by bikes. This was also because of the relatively flat terrain that Bangalore enjoyed. Auto rickshaws were present, cars were present, but the vehicles were more considerate to people who were using bicycles. Traffic congestion was quite rare, and although the roads were quite narrow, the roads were sufficient for the population of Bangalore at that point in time. Public transportation, although available, wasn't always as reliable as some of the major cities in the world, but it was still sufficient for the population of Bangalore at that time. Now let's cut back to the present. With unprecedented development, the infrastructure of Bangalore has failed to keep up. The massive influx of people and vehicles has meant that Bangalore roads became increasingly congested. Today, Bangalore city's traffic issues are one of the worst among similar cities in India. The growth of motor vehicles has been even more staggering. From about 150 motor vehicles per 1,000 population in the 1990s, we now have about 800 motor vehicles per 1,000 population. What makes matters worse is Bangalore has one of the densest mixes of traffic vying for road space. We have a combination of two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, public transport vehicles, and non-transport vehicles vying for valuable road space. The government has recently started to focus on the development of public transportation with the addition of Nama Metro. So the metro aims to reach parts of Bangalore which were traditionally unreachable through public transport means. But has it come a bit too late? And is the network developed enough to meet the growing demands of the population of Bangalore? The need of the hour, though, is to have a truly integrated transport network with focus on safe and sustainable first and last mile connectivity in order to solve some of the issues that Bangalore is facing. Now let's talk about the water situation in Bangalore. Up until the 1990s, Bangalore's water management was commendable and fairly sustainable. Bangalore was also known the city of lakes, with over 1,000 lakes and tanks constantly recharging the groundwater. Vrishabhavati and Arkavati rivers also played a major role in fulfilling some of the water demands for the people of Bangalore. Post-1990s, however, Bangalore's unplanned expansion disrupted its natural water bodies. Several lakes were encroached upon or polluted due to industrial and residential development, leading to severe water shortages. By the 2000s, Bangalore became heavily reliant on the river Kaveri to service the city's water supply needs. This also became a major topic of political dispute between Karnataka and the neighboring states. With the loss of lakes and tanks, groundwater depletion became a serious issue. The city's burgeoning population has put immense pressure on its water resources, resulting in severe water crisis events, especially in recent times. Let's talk about the city's housing and urban sprawl. Bangalore's housing market has also been deeply affected by rapid urbanization. The demand for housing has led to unplanned expansion of residential areas, often at the expense of affordable housing. Areas like Whitefield and Sarjapur, which were rural farmlands, are now facing unprecedented demands for residential housing. In many cases, this has also led to gentrification, which means lower income families who used to inhabit the traditional parts of inner Bangalore are now being forced to move to the outskirts of the city. Addressing housing inequalities while balancing the growth of the city can be a critical challenge for Bangalore's urban planners. Now let's come to the big and often difficult question. Who is responsible for this mess? Is it the government, or is it we as people of Bangalore? Are the very laws that were made for the convenience and welfare of the people now ruining the Indian cities? Now, what is your opinion on the floor space index? Do you think changing the laws around floor space index and increasing the floor space index to allow for higher density construction will solve some of the problems associated with rapid urbanization? Now, we know that cities right from New York to Beijing are boasting of skyscrapers to house people and businesses. But are we just content on building the tallest statues in the world? Another important question is surrounding governance. Do you think entrusting our local governments, such as municipalities, with more autonomy will take some pressure off the states, especially in matters such as urban planning and land use regulations, etc.? Every city in India was once a small village which grew into a popular trade center, which eventually led to the development of a large city. But were these spaces ever designed for the explosion of population that they were due to witness? Today, our cities are bursting at its seams, and we are paying the price for decades of unplanned growth. Is there a solution, or is it already too late? I'm sure with focused long-term thinking, mitigation is certainly possible. And this involves not just expanding our infrastructure, but also rethinking how cities are built in the first place. We need to integrate public transportation, preserve green spaces, plan housing sustainably, and also, more importantly, make sure water management is a priority. Bangalore, which was once a picture of serenity, has now become an example in the dangers of unchecked urbanization. But with thoughtful planning and focused political will, we can turn things around, not just in Bangalore, but also in other cities across India facing a similar problem. So what are your thoughts on this issue of unplanned development in India? If you do like the content of the video, do consider liking, sharing, and subscribing to our channel. Do join in the conversation so that we can consolidate thoughts on how we can make Indian cities better for future generations to come.